my friends, Jacob's here again. It's Tuesday and happy, wonderful Tuesday to you from my heart and from the Israel household. I have a lot to talk to you about today. I hope you're ready. A lot of breadcrumbs, like exciting breadcrumbs. A lot of things have been dropping into, I don't know what you want to call it. You want to call it the spirit or my heart or whatever you want, but my thoughts, my thinking. Woo! Well, you want to talk about weird things going on? Do you know that the Earth has now 2 magnetic fields? Yeah, I know. I thought there was only one, one magnetic field. I'm going to talk about that today, but there's 2. It just happened. I mean, they just kind of it's like, oh, by the way, there's like 3 skies. Yeah, these things don't just happen. Maybe it's a Mandela effect, right? Who knows? Do you know how I ended up following this little rabbit hole down to the depths of wow, this world is crazy? Well, I live in Long Island. You know that. I'm a Long Islander. Strong Island, baby, in his house. And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Share it with other people. Tell a friend. I want people to come to the channel. I'm always looking for them. They tell me every week I forget to say that stuff, and that's the reason why the channel's not growing as fast as everybody would like. Oh, poor me, right? I just went way off topic. So I'm going to come right back on point and say that there were sharks! Sharks! They were like everywhere. It was like 140 million trillion baking powdered Baskin Robbins sharks. You know, the ones that eat the plankton and stuff like that. Yeah, like 1,400 basking sharks. Just outside of, in between Long Island and Canada. They say, but it's weird. So I'm looking at that and I'm figuring this out and I'm thinking there's something going on. And then I find out all the stuff that I'm about to share with you because I'm going to be linking some stuff. Yeah. Stuff like, all of these crazy die-offs. Even Tyler was just talking about the Unsecure team. My boy. We research the same stuff, but really cover it differently, which I think is cool. But all these jellyfish, they just like a billion just died. All these animal die-offs. I know I've talked about the whales. I've talked about the dolphins. Something's going on, right? So all of a sudden I think, well, maybe it has something to do with the magnetic field. I don't even know how I got on the topic with my wife, but it led me down this thing, and now all the dots are connected together. So I hope each and every one of you were buckled up for this fired up magnetic show. When this stuff happens, I didn't even know that I was going to be doing a show on this. I didn't even know that I was going to be sitting here right now at all. I definitely didn't know how, all of these pieces were going to fit together so perfectly and eloquently. And then it's almost like how did I know what the magnetic field, I don't even know anything about the magnetic field, but all of a sudden in a moment, everything just clicked and it all made sense. If you don't know what the magnetic field of the Earth is, okay, it's and this is how I described it to Danielle when we were on the phone and I was talking to her about this. I said, okay, imagine 2 magnets, right? You got 2 magnets and you put the 2 of them together, and if they're charged oppositely, what happens is they kind of, there's a force that comes and it keeps them from coming together. Okay, it's almost like there's an invisible, like a little bumper. And I said, that's the magnetic field, and that's what is surrounding our planet. And that's why, when meteors and stuff come in, they burn up because you have to go against a lot of force to get close to the heart of the Earth. Which is kind of interesting. It's kind of romantic, right? It's like you gotta really try hard to get to the heart of us, right? Yeah, because we have this terrible, rough exterior that gets us into so much trouble. They say that there's no profit in the flesh, meaning that, the things that you put your faith in, hopefully they're a little more spiritually minded, and it's not just about making money and about, retarded things, like ridiculous things that don't add up to anything. So I don't even know how I say this to my wife, and I'm explaining this to her, and all of a sudden as I'm saying it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because I didn't know what a magnetic field was. I didn't know if I was on the right track at all. And I look it up, and it's pretty much just what it is. But I did sound smart telling Dan how, well, of course, let me explain the magnetic field to you, darling. Your husband is so bright, and I explained how the two magnets come together, and it's like, and it made sense. But I don't know how I knew that. So I go and I look it up, and I find out, of course, that a magnetic field is generated. Now let me read this because I had to write it down. I can tell you it's from the core. That it's like that there's this liquid metal. It's iron, right? And that because of the spin of the Earth, it creates a charge. And that charge then creates like this magnetic field or whatever. And that's why when planets come in, we've talked about relativity. Oh my God, right? Don't you want to bang your head against the wall? Now I'm talking about the theory of relativity now. How do I explain this? Okay, imagine planets are magnets, right? So we talk about Planet X and Nibiru and a lot, and we talk about how when it comes into the Kuiper Belt, that things are gonna ricochet against it because they have different charges, and so there's this force. Okay. Find out that magnetic force. Then we have two of them now. We have another one. Yeah. And they say that this magnetic field is has to do with the ocean, the tides. Now we know that the thermal tides and blah blah blah. But this is weird that this just came out. Like just a day or two ago, like 2 days ago, right? Look at this. So then, see, now I'm on this magnetic field thing. I go, that's a little coincidence, right? Because I was just looking about these 1,400 sharks or whatever. 1,400 sharks, these Baskin sharks, right? They were just together. It's rare to see them in packs at all, much less 1,400 of them. And this stuff's been happening with loggerhead turtles as well, just coincidentally, right? That was like a couple of days ago too. These loggerhead turtles that now that they're saying that magnetic fields are a big predictor of a loggerhead turtle's genes. And now that there's this new magnetic field that turtles are coming together and finding and mating, like the mating ritual's all screwy because now they're like finding their genetic magnetic soulmate, if you will, which is really kind of beautiful. You got all this stuff happening. You don't have just that, but you got all the billion jellyfish that just washed up on the shore. What was it, in France? Yeah, the south of France. Yeah, I wrote it down because I'm taking this new thing that's supposed to help with memory, but bullet points really help. Bullet points. I mean, the rest of this stuff, I'm just talking. I just whatever comes to mind. I don't think much about it. Science alert! Turtles nesting connected to magnetic field. So they're basically saying now that the nesting patterns, they're connected to the magnetic field, which is this magnetic field that just showed up, I guess, all of a sudden, right? There's this new force, right? Is it the event? Is that what everybody's talking about? Is this what all the crazy kids are talking about? That there's this light that goes on? Yes, they're talking about it. Have I been talking about it? Yeah, I've been saying things like that. You know, the Revelation 12 sign, that's September 23rd. I'm talking about it for a long time. Jacob been talking about these things long time, man. I don't even know what accent that was. So I hope it didn't offend you. If you did, just know I love you because you have a silly voice. Okay, so the ESA just discovered a second magnetic field surrounding our planet. A trio of satellites also studying our planet's magnetic field have shown details of a steady swell of a magnetic field produced, get this, not by the FE, see what I did there? The whole table of contents thing. Iron, liquid gold is Velveeta. One of my favorite macaroni and cheese things that I never eat because it's so bad for you. But a trio of scientists studying the magnetic field have found that it's also, this new one is produced by the ocean tides. Well, we all kind of knew that, right? It kind of makes sense. But here's the thing, right? Could it be there's a connection to more? Could it be that the reason that these sharks are now, they're enormous. Have you seen the size of one of them? Great symbolism there, people. And let's take it a step further. I know it's going to sound a little kooky, crazy, little cuckoo corn puffs, but we're talking about 1400. It's very similar to that number that I was just recently talking about, which is 144,000, right? I've been talking about that day, that remnant. My goodness, this is so weird, right? The day that we're in. And the fact that, yes, as I said, and I've been saying, now once again, I was making a proclamation that there will not be a war. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen or that I know that it's going to happen, but after talking to my good friend KJ on the phone, Scariest Movie Ever channel, if you haven't checked him out, check him out. He's amazing, and I love that he's my friend because we talk about some really beautiful and deep things. And I told him that everybody's screaming about World War III, the end of the world, nuclear holocaust. Everybody's talking about it. And I decided at that gym, I was thinking about Abraham and when he was saying, will you spare Sodom and Gomorrah for 50? Will you do it for 30? That I had this thought. I'm like, why do I have to stop? Why do there have to be any good people? And I told KJ, and he agreed. It's like, no one's ready. If there's more, right? We're not ready. People aren't ready. You all just found me for one, and it's not a lot. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, a lot, but it's not like where it's meant to be. So my prayer is that people everywhere, that they start to understand that their thoughts and their actions dictate their life. And right now, like I said that it was all going to happen. This light that's going on within. I get emails, oh, I'm an atheist, I'm not an atheist. I don't want you to believe in religion. I don't want you to go to religious men. I don't want you to consider me a religious person. I want you to go to this force that I call God, Christ. And then I get people asking me, oh, well, do you believe that Jesus is the Lord? And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, I wouldn't know anything. I wouldn't know salvation if it wasn't for Christ. I wouldn't, but you all don't even know what salvation is, and that's why people are so miserable and so just, I feel lost. I feel like they're so lost. And I feel like I need to do something to help that, and I hope that you have that feeling too. But I don't look at people the way I used to. I don't see them as an enemy anymore. I see them as a friend. I see him as a person in need. It's almost like my lights were turned on like high beam. Like all of a sudden now I'm starting to see, and I've been tested like you wouldn't believe. I was telling KJ this, that like it just seems that there's always, where I work, I've had issues at work, but instead of going and thinking, oh my goodness, I can't believe they're treating me this way. This is so cruel, and so it's a hostile work environment. You think all these negative things, but then you say, hang on, but that's not my reality. I've done nothing wrong. I'm a light here, and I'm the best. I'm number one. And of course, people are going to see that and they're going to say there's a problem with this. And so, but today's the day where, you have to be wise as a serpent, but harmless as a dove, and you have to see beyond the action and the hurt, and you have to see why it's being done. And it's almost like, where I would have gotten upset. And I just said, this is the way it's going to be from now on. And I left it, you take emotion out of it and you try to help them in their hour of need. You don't put a stumbling block before them. You don't do things to harm them. This is the thing with me is those that bless you will be blessed. Those that curse you will be cursed. That's what happens in life when you seek the truth, when you seek what God calls the kingdom of heaven, righteousness, peace, and joy. It's here. It's within us. It's always been, but it's the access, according to Scripture, was like, halted until you know as Christ knew. It's like, so my point is, people, today's a really cool day, and we're all a part of it. And I don't find it strange at all, that maybe 140 some odd gulls just died, right? Maybe we saw the whales beach themselves, and we saw this, and maybe this is all tied to this second magnetic field, which of course, one could then argue perhaps there is some planet coming towards us, and the closer it gets, look at the craziness in weather, look at the changing in temperature of other planets, not just here. We know that there is more going on to the story, and yet, I know that there are a lot of channels out there that people say are just there to distract everyone from the real channels or the real truth. Man, don't go anywhere for the real truth but within. Figure it out. Doesn't matter if something's coming or not. In the grand scheme of things, if you don't have joy and peace in your life, does it matter? If there's going to be a bomb dropping off, if right now in the moment you're just afraid, man, it's a new day, people. We're in a new day. I've been talking about this day for a long time, and I'm bringing you all into it, and it's free, and I'm not asking anything but share and like and subscribe. It's not much because, it would be nice to just be able to do this. I don't ask you all for anything, but that. If you're not subscribed, will you please do it already, please? Not asking you to sow your seed, but I want you to sow your seed according to what the scriptures really say, so you know. Because you've probably been told by religion that the seed of God that you're supposed to sow is money. God doesn't need your money. I don't need your money. I'm provided for because I have a very good job that I work, and it's a humbling job, You look at me, you don't even know that I clean the toilets in where I work. I do. I'm proud of it. You know why? Because I'm an example for others. Not just am I just the best at what I do, but I'm also someone that comes into work every day ambitious and excited for what's to come. I see, the next big thing coming in. I see the next moment. I see the next show. It's a beautiful thing, man. And I refuse to live another moment saying how terrible and hard my life is just because my body aches and just because maybe, I'm not living in the Caribbean and making millions of dollars. In the grand scheme of things, we got so much craziness going on right now with the reverse lightning, right? Saw that? Yeah. The best part about this whole show is this all happened while my buddy Jim was next to me, and I was sharing these things. Like I as I'm researching for the show, I said, "Come on in," And next thing you know, I'm like, look at this. Isn't this interesting? And then I go, I bet you it has to do with this, because these ideas just start to come to me. I'm really excited about the direction that we're all headed. And I hope you are too. And I hope that you are seeing, that you can be as Abraham was with God. You can make a deal with God. And because especially if you want to see good, you can see the world and say, Lord, will you spare the world? And then give me an opportunity to heal it. Give me an opportunity to lead it to you so they can be healed. For those who can't hear what I'm really saying when I say it. I love each and every one of you. I hope that you do have the best day ever. This was, I don't know if you've noticed, you're probably noticing a little bit of a difference in how I'm doing my videos and the things that I'm saying. And there's a reason for it. And I know that you're onto it. I know you're catching on. Our thoughts are creating at an amazing rate right now. So be on your guard, right? If you feel or think anything that brings you pain and fear and hate, it's not the truth. Cast it out and recreate the thought in your head. Judge not, lest you should be judged. This is like of utmost importance right now. Stop seeing the world as blowing up. It may. And if it does, you're okay because there is more and you're connected to it and you're actually in that kingdom that Christ talked about. Love each and every one of you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. You done? Yeah. I love you. Do great. Do great. Use your intellect. Yeah. I love you. Or B. Remember, or B, if you really don't know. Okay. Bye.